Welcome everyone to the Man of Thought, aka the Black Panther of Nigeria, aka the Villain of Truth. Today is simple because I already make a notification on what today's episode is all about. The episode matters to certain individuals, which is the African as a continent and the Black Americans. That's what we are going to be discussing today. And I think that most people's opinion would definitely be useful. For those who are going to be joining me live, all your messages are going to be read out as long as it's pertaining to the subject. Those who are going to be watching it after we are done with live, most of you should make your comments on your advice, your opinion, what you think. If there's a mistake somewhere, if there's something we can do about the whole situation, I would appreciate every comment. I will be going through every comment and I will be responding to every single comment. So as for the moment, I will be giving about 2 or 3 minutes to see people who are going to be joining me live. So it is important that today's conversation is not basically on what I just want to talk about, but on what is important to every single one of us as Africans. Wherever you are, maybe in Canada, Australia, Europe, France, wherever you can be, Portugal, whatever, America, UK, this is going to be important. The subject we are talking about is how we can unite Africans and Black Americans. And I call it a call for connection because I think that this is missing. While I while away few times for people to join me live, I want to use this particular moment to make people understand that the work we make decisions to do, the work we make decisions to do as a people would most likely be part of our posterity as we go on. For me, my posterity after I die is not about how much I make, but how much is the impact I can instill to make a change. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I can make the change in the whole world, but it simply means that I could also be a catalyst to bring in the change. So for those people who are going to be joining me live, I am still opening up before we totally begin today's conversation. So I would appreciate those of us who are joining live. If you want to support, start by clicking likes. Double click. Oh, I haven't moderated. I just have to keep doing this moderation because to avoid all kinds of drama. So for you to be part of today's conversation, you should have subscribed to the channel. Welcome everyone to this subject. We are going to be talking about uniting Africans and Black Americans, a call for connection. And every opinion is going to be absolutely welcome. Certain individuals have told me that they would have loved to join me on live, but I think that sometimes people are kind of afraid when it comes to live videos. Some people are scared of, oh, I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want people to see me. I don't want people to hold on to part of my words and judge me by my words. And I understand those facts. If you haven't done it before, if you haven't been on live before, it's going to be scary. Some people are intimidated by coming live. For us, it's a struggle we want to make a change on because we have a vision. So I have to embody and bring myself out of the shell of, oh, I have to relax and stay back and being introverted. I have to put myself out there to at least have certain discussions that I know that are important to people. So I haven't seen any like. Please, if you're joining, like. It helps the algorithm to move forward before we actually continue on today's conversation. This is 5 minutes in. Um, 6 minutes, I would have loved to start. So for 4 people who are joining us live, please let me see your likes. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you can chat live and I will be reading your chat. Show likes. Thank you very much for those who are considering to do that. Now, on today's episode, I would have loved to mostly ask questions and see people's opinion. That was exactly what my mind is all about on today's episode. I will give out my thoughts, and I would love people who actually have maybe a different insight to the subject to give me a thought of theirs. And every opinion is welcome in today's conversation, like I said earlier. Now, there was something that prompted to this particular conversation that we are having. Few times I have heard, I haven't witnessed, but certain people that I know have said that Africans have been clamoring that they want the Black Americans to come back to Africa because of our ancestral past. In fact, I have seen people like, did they call him Steve? There's this guy that used to make comedy, Steve Harvey. I think he came from Ghana, something like that. So maybe when he traced his lineage, he discovered it's from Ghana. About early last year or 2 years ago, it has become so rampant that there was something they started doing to most of the people in the US, UK, to be able to discover where your ancestors or where you most likely came from. So I don't know how they do the tests, but then they would know, oh, what part? Maybe you came from Asian, maybe your lineage is from Puerto Rican, maybe you are from Portuguese, maybe you are from the Europe, maybe you are from China. There was a lot of such that are going on that people begin to test to know exactly where they came from. They want to be aware of their ancestral past. And so it was obvious that many Black Americans came from Africa. That is not even a surprise, but it is right that most Black Americans came from Africa. And then it begins to baffle me as time goes on that I started hearing that many Africans begin to clamor that they want Black Americans to come back home and the rest of it. And when they started saying it, we realized that most male Black Americans, when they come, they are being accepted. But when the female Black Americans come to Africa, some of them most likely complain about how they are being treated in Africa. I repeat myself, when most Black American men comes to Africa, they are being welcomed absolutely. We love them. But most of the women who comes to Africa, majority of them complain that Africans do not welcome them with open hands. Now, on Sunday, while I was having a live show on this, certain women who are also Black Americans said that Africans show them love. Why some of them talked about their bad experiences with African people. And that raised a concern that that means that if some Black American women are complaining that Africans are not welcoming them, then that simply means that there is an atom of truth to it. At least in the conversation, about maybe 40% will say that they are being welcomed when they come to Africa. And maybe 30% or 40%, and the remaining 60% will say, I have a bad experience coming to Africa. And I think that there's a separation. I do not believe that I can totally make the change. I think that every change begins with a discussion. And I know that there might be certain individuals who are trying to bring up this discussion to make sure that we can unite Africans with the Black American women. That was the interest. But sometimes, some of them might not be making money through conversations like this. Why? There are particular topics that the algorithm of YouTube, the algorithm of TikTok, the algorithm of Facebook, the algorithm of all social media platforms, including Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, there are certain conversations they would bombard you with money. And part of those conversations is all about you talking about people who are dressing anyhow or ladies who are shaking their ass. You will be so surprised that just having 1,000 views, they may give you extreme big money. But when you begin to talk about issues that actually matters to fix the union between Africans and Black Americans, or talk about certain subject that can bring a revolution to the society, the social media space might not give you anything. In fact, there are most videos that I make when I talk about certain truth. YouTube will say that for 1,000 views that I have, they are going to give me 7 naira, 10 naira, 65 naira. So if I am a person who is being controlled by money, then you can see that stylishly I would convert into those particular ways of thinking. Let me do what I have to do to make money. But for me, it's different. No be say I get money, but I am okay. And for me, it's about making a change as possible as I can. So please, for those of us who are just joining me live, we have over 26 people right now joining me live. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We have 29 people right now. And please like to boost the algorithm so it can reach out to other people. Please do. I only see 1 like. Okay, I've seen 2 likes. Thank you very much for the second person who is liking. You can double tap your screen and you are going to be able to show me likes there. This particular conversation we're having today, the only chart I'll be reading out is something that is pertaining to the subject. And the subject we have today is talking about how do we unite Africans and Black America, a call for connection. Yes, that's the subject I just put out. Uniting Africans and Black America, a call for connection. So every opinion will be welcome. You don't necessarily have to be a Black American or an African. You might be able to give us insight on what you know. We just want to start a conversation and see how we can flow with this. You're welcome. It doesn't matter where you come from. You can give us your insights as long as your opinion are valid. It doesn't necessarily have to be valid, but you can just give out your opinion and we can go through it together. Now, I have few questions I want to ask, and I would love the 29 or 31 or whatever numbers we have right now to be able to contribute into this conversation. This is not absolutely the day I talk and say everything I have in my mind. This is a day that I would have loved to relate with people. Now, I was saying something before I begin to throw the question out to the audience. I was saying something earlier that Africans, the Black Americans came from Africa. And because the Black Americans came from Africa, we shared the same ancestral past. Due to colonialism and the rest of it, majority of them are born in the US, in the UK, and the rest of it. it got to a point that Africans begin to clamor that the Black Americans should come to Africa, that they are welcome, that we are one, we are brothers and sisters. Now, it was obvious that when the Black American men come to Africa, they are being welcomed. No, you don't necessarily have to donate. You don't necessarily have to donate. Your chart will be read. This conversation, we are just starting the conversation. If you want to support, that is a choice that you can make through what do they call it, live chat, super sticker, and all those stuff. But that's not what today is basically about, the conversation. So opinion are more important in today's conversation than donation. So where am I going? The Africans begin to tell the Black Americans that we are one, and they ask everybody to start coming back home. At least there was this research that people can actually do certain tests that they would discover, where did you come from? Are you from India? Are you from Asia? Are you from, do you share lineage with the Europeans? There were all these tests that was going on. Then I had a question that popped up in my mind when I began to think about this stuff. In my mind, I felt like Black American people are doing well. And because we understand that the US and the UK, their currency is kind of high in value, most African begins to go to those places and they want to work there, but they are mostly welcomed by the Black Americans. And so we stylishly start taking their jobs. In a sense, you can remember part of the things that spring up in the UK not quite long, when it was like they started talking about, after the stabbing through that Rwanda child, but it's a UK child at the end of the day, but it's a Black descendant from Rwanda, and people started clamoring that the people that are seeking asylums, or the Blacks that are coming there, are actually taking their jobs. Now it seems as if Africans are going to the Black American place to take their job. So rather than their government to pay them particular amount of money, the government might look like, oh, if this person is coming in, let us pay this person a little bit lesser, and this person will still value it. So Africans begin to troop to the Black Americans in the US and in the UK. In fact, I have a lot of people in both sides, even in Europe and the rest of it. But what I realized is that after we all are saying that the Black Americans should come, when the men comes, we accept the men. In fact, African women solely love Black American men. Maybe it's because we see ourselves as brothers and sisters, I don't know. But it comes to a part that when the women of Black Americans decide to come back home, majority of them are having bad experience with the Africans. Africans are not welcoming them. Now, there are different hypotheses that comes from my head. I felt that the reason why most of the Africans were saying that Black Americans should come back home was so that they would keep welcoming Africans into the Black American culture, so we can work with them, so they can see us as our brothers and sisters. Then on the other round, I am looking at it that the reason why most of us are asking, allowing the African men, or sorry, the Black American men to marry the African women, or to have them, to have relationship and to date them, is simply because now we are looking at, these are just hypotheses, these are the things I was thinking, that we are looking at the financial benefits. Since they have a lot of dollars and the rest of it, they can take care of our women. But when it comes to the aspect that the women, the Black American women, decide to come back to Africa to get married to the men, our women became a little bit, they are not being welcome. Let's just put it at that. And so when I had this discussion the other time, some women said they had good experience. In fact, they are married to an African person. But most women have bad experience. Most Black American women or Black American women, okay, let me just put it that way, have bad experience with the African people. And I'm saying, is it because of their cultural difference? I understand that could play a role. But how do we make sure that we can see ourselves as one, brothers and sisters, rather than creating disparity? Because I want you to understand one thing, that I wasn't so much aware of it, but later when I begin to study things about the Malcolm X, Martin Luther King and the rest of it, there was a time that the Black American men were the ones that were under attack. But currently, it has been so obvious that over 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, Black American women have been under attack. And so, how do we fix this? If you have other experience from a different, maybe you are Puerto Rico, maybe you are India, maybe you are Asia, and you guys have had experience like this, or you have certain thoughts that you think we can experiment on, I have few questions I'll be throwing out to the audience, and I will want you all to give your insight. We may not make this change, but we can be a catalyst to the change. When we start creating awareness like this, rather than showing the negative things about the Black women or the Black American women, we can start showing positive things about them, and we can find a common ground to work together. Because look at it very well. On the social media space, you can check countless of podcasts, countless of channels, countless of everybody saying negative things about Black American women. I am asking myself a question. Is there any culture, is there any country that do not have negative side? But why is it that when it comes to the Black American women, everything that you can ever see about the Black American women is totally negative as long as social media or Hollywood is concerned? They are dancing wap, wap, hip hop, they are drinking, they are, they give every other person this perspective that these people are unserious or they are crazy and the rest of it. In fact, I will tell you for a fact, if I want to make money right now, all I have to do is to say negative things about a Black American woman. You will be so surprised that before tomorrow morning, I will have 2,500 subscribers. So I need everybody's input on this. My first question to the audience, I have about 6 questions here, and maybe I should read them out, but I will start with the first one, and then we can go after it, and then let's just relate together and see. I want us to know this before I proceed on it, is that hatred has been the biggest stumbling block. And according to DMX, he always make a parable or a phrase. He would say that gun don't kill people, people kill people. What he actually mean by that statement is that hatred in the heart of people kills people, not the weapon. And what is causing the disparity between Africans and the Black American people is hatred. So if we are conscious of the hatred, how can we begin to heal? Because I can say it for a fact, if the Africans can unite and accept their true brothers and sisters who are Black American people, if we can actually welcome them, they would most likely not be under the kind of attack they are in. We have over 96 people on live. Please like the channel. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe so that you can write on the live chat. First question I'll be having today is, how do we feel connected to the struggles and triumphs of the Black American? As Africans or as any other person, Let us ask ourselves in narration, can there be anybody right here that knows certain good things about Black Americans apart from the negative things they've been posting about the Black American people? What are the positive things we can say about the Black American people? It is more or less like a test. What are your experiences with the Black American people that you can say that I have certain good experience with the Black American people? So the question is, how do we feel connected to the struggles? We know about their struggle in certain ways and their triumphs for them to be able to still stand till date of Black Americans. Either you are Indian, Asia, whatever. Tell me any positive things you know about the Black Americans, and I want to learn also. That's the purpose of this. So every chat is welcome. If you want to donate, that's on you. Everything is being appreciated. Every contribution is being appreciated. Super sticker, like, subscribe, just do whatever you want to do. But your contribution on what you have to say is more important at this junction. What are the positive things that we can say about the Black Americans regarding their struggle and where they are in society today? Please, you can write in. The second question will be, what role do we think African communities can play in supporting Black American women? I repeat, the second question will be, what role do we think African communities can play in supporting Black American women? Please think about all these things and write in. The third question will be, in what ways can we celebrate our shared African roots with Black Americans? I repeat, in what ways can we celebrate our shared African roots with Black Americans? The fourth question will be, how can Africans and Black Americans collaborate to uplift each other rather than most of our people trying to tear the Black Americans down simply because of we have certain perception about them? How can we lift each other up? How can we collaborate and make that work? The fifth one will be, what does the unity between Africans and Black Americans mean to us? Maybe that might not be so much. Let me cancel the fifth one. We can do that next time. The sixth one will be, how can we make this awareness spread through? But for now, let's just go from number 1 to number 4. I'm waiting for your insights, my people. I might be able to give out my opinion, but let us first of all think. I would even give out my opinion. That's what I would say. But I want to hear from people. We have over 92 people, 93 people, and the rest of it joining. Please, what do you think about the subject that has been put out? I'm waiting. Most people are always used to me speaking every time, just rambling, saying all the things that are in my mind and not asking questions. What do we have to say about this? The first question I ask is, how do we feel connected to the struggles and the triumphs of Black Americans? The second is, what role do you think that, or do we think that African community can play in supporting Black Americans? The third question is, in what ways can we celebrate our shared African roots with Black Americans? And the fourth one is about how can Africans and Black Americans collaborate to uplift each other. And the fifth one will be, how can we make this awareness spread through? That's what we're all about. So we have about 93 people right now on live. What are your thoughts on these questions that has been put out? Please let your chats come in. If you cannot chat, know that it's because you haven't subscribed. So make sure you subscribe first and then give in your opinion. Once you subscribe, you will be able to chat. Thank you very much. We are still awaiting things to come in. What's delaying? Would you want me to give out my own opinion first? Would you want me to say everything? Some people don't know what to say about it. Maliko Sondaya. Amazing. We are having a lot of people joining us live. And I've been waiting for over 2 minutes, and people have not contributed to the subject at hand. What is the problem? I am still expecting. Okay. Trust me, if Abia the best was here, if maybe Rusty was live, or few of I have certain audience who would have said, at least they would just come up with something. I know we would have started the conversation by now, but maybe they are not aware. I don't think they are live. I have a lot of them that would have said something about this subject. Even if they are not so much aware, they would have said something. But it's funny and amazing at the same time. Okay, since you guys are not saying anything about it, let me come up with my own opinion and what I think. Here's what I would say. The first question, as it's concerned, saying that how do we feel connected to the struggles and the triumphs of Black American? My thought would have been that Africans and the Black American have almost similar history. Our experiences are similar, but our experiences are not the same. Now, that means that both parties suffer we both suffer colonialism. The difference is that some of them were taken out of the country. They were moved from place to place, and then some of them find themselves in the US, some of them find themselves in the UK. So, in what sense? We all have been into slavery. Africans and the Black Americans, we have experienced similar hatred. We have experienced similar slavery. We have experienced similar colonialism. Now, one of the benefits of what we as the Africans have been able to have is that some of us have been able to retain our land, but there are some of our brothers and sisters that have been taken away. Some of us think they were dead. According to our ancestors, they most likely would think a lot of them are dead. So did we all suffer together? I think our ancestors suffered together. Now, on today's world, the best thing they've been able to give us are two things: religion and education. In the religious way, they've given us religion just to be able to mesmerize with our head, to make us believe that the white people are the savior. In fact, I call it the Jesus Christ syndrome. When I talk about Jesus Christ syndrome, a lot of people think I hate Christianity. No, I don't hate Christianity. I have no reason in my entire life to hate any religion, but I know the purpose of the religion that was brought in Africa. But when it comes to the aspect of the Black Americans, they have no choice. They were forced to think As an African person, I still have a choice to either believe in religion or go back to culture and traditions, because these particular things still exist. Our culture and traditions as Africans till date still exist. Are they trying to wipe it out with religion? Yes, they are trying to wipe it out with religion. But I believe, I am very optimistic that there's a possibility that we would wipe out religion. As long as it has nothing to do with our roots, our culture and tradition, it might take some time, but at some point, religion will be kicked out of Africa. Didn't the president of Rwanda banned about 6,000 churches? Now, so it take the start. Revolution start little by little. So if we do not see the struggle that the people who are in the Black Americans, if we do not see them as our own people completely, not looking at them because of financial benefit and what we are going to gain from them, but to welcome them to understand that they are truly part of us, then it simply means that the reason why the white people overcame us in the first place is the reason why we would remain where we are for a very long time. What do I mean by that? According to history, the white people did not just jump from heaven and come to Africa and begin to colonize people. No, it didn't happen overnight. They came as visitors. They came as strangers. And when they realized that Africans are willing to sell their people out for anything, then they begin to penetrate into the leaders. The African leaders were the ones selling their people. How can you not sell your people when you don't have love for them? You will sell them. The reason why our leaders were selling us as Africans was simply because they never loved African people, but rather they were so much addicted to the benefit of things that can be given to them. Remember, according to part of our history, we have a place in Badagry right now that we still have part of the chains they use in chaining our people, slavery and the rest of it. And when you look at the exchange, for example, an ordinary mirror that is not 5-inch wide and 5 feet width and height, maybe 5 feet, 5 feet, they use only a mirror to collect acres of land. There were a time that the colonial masters, when they come to Africa, they use umbrella, ordinary umbrella, to buy acres of land. So today, Africans will be screaming, oh, our oil have been taken to Europe. Until date, we are still suffering the same thing. The question is, when are we going to open our eyes to see that the problem about the Black people is that they have hatred in their hearts? When you see a Black person speak and a Black person talks about anything, or a Black person makes a little bit of mistake, you see most times that the Black people want to tear the person down. Every single time it happens. We see it all on social media. And we ask ourselves a question. The white people, don't their community commit any crime? Don't their community do something that is bad, that is something that is cynical, crazy, and the rest of it? But most of the things that the white people do does not find itself on the social media. But the Black people, it is so easy. Before any event happen that we see anything negative, we bring out our camera and we start videoing. Rather than us to save someone who is drowning, rather we want to video the person who is drowning. This is a mentality of hatred. It has been in the life of our ancestors, in most of them, and is shrinking down to this our generation. And if it doesn't benefit us as our ancestors, they will sell our people out. The question is this: are we still the same set of people, or have we changed? Now, we may have the most peaceful land, we may have the most fertile land, we may have the most greatest blessing as Africans. Our soil can be blessed and the rest of it, but the hearts of the people are kind of evil. And because our heart is so black and dark, more than the skin of our color, for us to show love, we don't know how to show love. Two factors has even broadened the whole situation. The two factors are the religion and the education. And in education, they teach us more about individuality. And I clamor most times on this particular stuff of individuality. You see our women sometimes, Black American women, African women, some of them just talk about this particular statement of individualism, I am strong and independent, and the rest of it. How does a society succeed with independence? With I am alone. I am a strong and independent person. How strong are you? How strong are you? If the real world actually plays its role, how do you think that you are so strong as a person? You see, there was something I used to say, and part of my statement is that any woman or man who kind of make decisions that I don't want to have children, I don't want to be part of family, I don't want families and the rest of it, I just want to have my money and live an independent life, I think you shouldn't have any opinion on society. That's what I think. It's an opinion, but that's what I think. If you are not supporting for families to grow, if you are advocating that there should be more independent women and more independent men, you have no contribution to the society. So why speak in the first place? If my daughter, for example, make a decision that she don't want to get married, I will fight with the last blood in my vein. I did not create you. I did not create you. I am not your creator. I and your mother, we were united to produce you. Why would you think that after we produce you, you say, oh, and we take good care of you, you think that it is not your responsibility to nurture the next generation? What a mentality. If you think it's not your duty, then you have no ground to advocate being a politician or being in a hierarchy of anything, because what you are going to be promoting is you are going to be promoting degeneracy. Why? Because when you find yourself in the position of power, you will keep clamoring, oh, ladies, you can be independent. Guys, you can be independent. And you create individualism. Before you know, nobody wants to have children again. Society begins to perish slowly. How can we trust you? There was something that Africans used to do in the olden days, in part of our history. You can never be a king when you are not married. If you are a prince and your father died early and you are a young child, they will find a wife for you. The reason is that you must bring out offspring. You must show your people how you want the soul of the mankind or of the people to grow. You must be the first example. Right now, somebody will just come up to you and say, oh, I'm single. My name is Kamala Harris. I just want to be the president of the United States of America. I don't want to have children and the rest of it. I'm not saying that's true, but I'm just saying it is possible that can become true as America they go. Don't get me wrong. Kamala Harris is not a Black American woman. I'm just using that as an analogy. So what am I saying? I am saying that there is an hatred in Black people, in Africans, not to, it is all about we, families, and individual. Until date, this particular thing still exists inside of us. 132 people are joining me live, and I have only 4 likes. What happened? Double click your screen and like the video. Please do that so we proceed. Thank you. I've seen the 5th one. Let's get to 10. At least promote the algorithm of this discussion. Please double tap your screen and like. Most people have refused to comment, but liking shouldn't be a problem. Or did everybody just turn on their phone and then they walk away? We have 6. Thank you. Why the rest people begin to consider if they should like or they shouldn't? Oh, we have 7. Praise God. I thought maybe I was just talking to people who probably just put on their phone and they walk away from their phone. Oh, we have 8. God bless you all. So it's just remaining 2 to become 10. Make it 9. Oh, that's what I'm saying. Thank you very much. So I can proceed. I believe that this hatred between our ancestors is still there till now. And whatever is not part of us, but can only contribute to our well-being or give us financial benefit, those are the things we welcome. So when we look at the Black people in the US, we look at the Blacks, and you understand that as an African, when you go to US or you go to the UK and the rest of it, they naturally call you Black. So you are more or less like the people who have been born there generations after generation. Once you as an African go there, they add you to those people. So we are having social, economic benefits from going to the Black communities in the Western culture. But when it comes to them coming back home, we have certain issues with it. Now, I also understand what could be the reason, but I think that whatever excuse we have that we call a reason is not enough to create the disparity among us, because we are the ones who clamor for it. So in a nutshell, I think that we have to be conscious of ourselves. And for us to be conscious of ourselves, I think that there should be real educated Black American women coming out to have sensible discussion. Why do I say that? There are some Black American women who have been successfully able to have good relationship with an African man, and that's beautiful. That's you going back to your roots. But one of the things is that for those people who are having bad experience, we have to ask ourselves, why are you having the bad experience? Now, there are days where I can also talk about, oh, these are the negative things. I might be able to polish on some stuff, but I'm not going to go down deep. Now, based on what the media portrays about the Black American woman, a natural African mother is afraid for her son. It is a psychological warfare that when you look at social media and you hear about the stories of what Black American women, how they are acting, and our young girls as Africans are trying to be like the Black American women. And trust me, there's a reason why young African girls are trying to be like Black American women, because they understand that if Black American women are more educated and civilized, they want to be educated and civilized. They are not copying a Puerto Rican. It is rare for you to see an African dressed like an Asian girl. It is rare for you to see an African dressed like an European girl. It is rare for you to see an African to dress like the white people. They want to dress like their cousins because without them knowing, they also know that the Black Americans are part of them. But the problem is that what the social media is portraying so that they can wipe out, and trust me, what I'm saying is this: most of the whites are trying to wipe out the blacks, the Black American people, according to what I have heard, according to what I'm seeing. They only bow to them when it is time for election. As far as American is concerned, the president and the governor and the rest of people bow to the black people when they want to go into power. But you can ask yourself and look at the data for yourself and ask yourself, why is it that when they get to the position of power, it is only the soul of a Black American person that is not safe? These are the people who get gunned down. It wasn't long that you saw, oh, we are screaming that, oh, are they afraid of men because men are doing hip hop and gangster and the rest of it? Now just an average woman, because she's cooking or something like that, and she called a police officer and she threw a water, and before you know, boa, gunshot in at the head. He shot her. And what I am hearing, quote me if I'm wrong, was that it's going to be dismissed. Dismissed when you shoot someone. It simply shows that the life of a Black American has no value in the face of the politicians and the government. When Barack Obama wanted to go into power, a lot of people were rejoicing, oh, Black, but they've already bought him. They've already bought him. So where am I actually going with this? What I am saying is that we need to be very aware and conscious that we are Blacks, and the Black American women who are willing to even bring their family here and the rest of it, they have to change the narration by showing the responsible and decent Black American woman on the social media space to start having discussion on how to be a responsible Black American woman. Because when the African mother begin to see that, yes, they are decent kind of Black American woman, we would want our children to actually imitate them. Not that we pray for our children, that God help our children for imitating a Black American person. The question is, how many Black American women are willing to come out of their shell and make sure that they make this change? If they don't make the change, at least they can be a catalyst to conversations like this. I can see everything you're writing, Imanshu girl. It's scary, yeah. I have seen countless of Black American people tell me that, oh, I would love to talk to you. I would love to come on your live show and the rest of it. Oh, some of them would even write me mail. But I'm like, okay, should we go live? They're like, oh, I'm a decent woman and blah, blah, blah. And it begins to create a little bit of confusion inside of me. You might say you're afraid. You might say you don't want your people to clamor on you. What do you really care about the next generation of the Black American people relating back to their African people? And for you to be able to do that, you have to throw away fear. When I speak about this subject, I know how much effort I've put to be able to have the amount of subscribers that I have on my YouTube, but I know that while I have this conversation, anything can happen. I can wake up tomorrow and they tell me that your YouTube stage have been banned. I'm expecting to use some of the money I make on YouTube to take care of people in the prison. There are people in prison that are waiting for me. I expect that part of the money I make in the YouTube, I can use it in part of my communities and take some of it probably for my family. But I am still making the decision to put it out because I know it's the most important thing. It is an honor to be part of something that can be possible and can change the narrations of the African people. So why not give it a try? And it seems as if when people begin to run away or shy away from having this discussion, it seems as if maybe you say you are decent, but you are not decent, because when the world see you, they most likely would not consider you to be decent. Trust me, when I come live, there are people who come here and they just say negative things to me. It's rare for people to say negative things. I might have 200 comments and 2 people are going to say negative things, but I am already willing for anybody to say whatever they want to say. I just know that I am not going to participate with anyone saying any negative comment about me. And if I do not engage with negative energy will pass by. So the reality is that are Black American women willing to have this conversation? So if you're not, what else do you think that we can use in changing the narration that has been painted about the Black American people? At least there should be conversations of Black American people who have been able to hold down relationship, who have been able to take care of their man, who have been able to be with the African man, who have been able to have good experience with their men, or who have been able to have good experience with the Africans, and some of them who actually have bad experience with the Africans. We have to talk about all these particular things. That's why they call it a civil society. That's why they call it democracy. Everything begins with a conversation. If you ain't willing to have it, then that means you're not willing to change it. If anyone agrees with me, tell me you agree with my insights. So I move to number 2. So that means it most likely lies in the hands also of the Black American people, because I know that the Africans, most of the Africans that are willing to go to the Black Americans or US or the UK, most of them already know the benefit of going there. So they benefit. Economically, they benefit. Some of them go there just to have their PhD, BSc, HNC, LLP, APC, PDP, whatever they go outside the country to get it, it is a positive thing for them. But the question is, the Black Americans who are there, what is the positive thing for them? They are the one who need to come to Africa. And if they have to create this relationship, they most likely might not be interested in coming. You don't necessarily have to be interested in coming, but you have to be able to change the narration and be interested in talking about it. I do not care what age you are. I do not care how many families you have. At least start a conversation just for the sake of the next generation. We have the same struggle as Africans and Black America. Similar, not the same, because Black American people have it worst. There's a difference when your house is being invaded, and there's a difference when you are being captured and taken to another land. That's a different trauma. They are taken from their motherland and taken to a different land. And because of that, I sympathize / empathize with a lot of them. But I think that they must be able, the decent ones, the ones who are successful, and the ones who are willing to work this out or have this conversation should be able to start up something. We can start with this channel. We can start having discussions like this occasionally, maybe once in a week, maybe once in 2 weeks. But we have to be able to do it to a sense whereby, okay, it can be promoted to a level whereby every other podcast can begin to reason and say, oh, this is a thing that is going on. Like Daddy Freeze. You know, any conversation that makes sense, that the freeze will say, oh, he wants to talk about it. Let him start talking about it too. But if we do not initiate conversations like this, we most likely might not move anywhere. So for anyone who is a Black American, I would ask you, do you agree? If you don't agree, anyone who is on live right now with me, do you understand what I'm saying? Am I making some points so I can move to the next one? Let me know if I make some point. And if I am wrong, please do correct me. Should I move to the next one? Should I move to the next point? I'll be waiting to at least hear a response from one person. La, 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 la. You see, they prepared a pepper soup for me. Pepper soup was what I'm supposed to eat right now. And we are having this conversation. So somebody have to write something because the pepper soup is getting cold. Should we move to the next one? Or is there any contribution to this one? I think most people just love to hear me talk. All right. I might get to the third one and I will close for the day if people are not saying anything. I know most of my audience who used to talk, they are not live with me. Then let's talk about the second one. It's like, what role do you think African communities can play in supporting Black American women? Just a sleepy fox. Oh, I just got here. What I miss? You missed a lot. We are talking about uniting Africans and Black American people, a call for connection. And I spoke about the heritage of Black Americans, and we share the same ancestral past. And I talk about the social media space narrating negative things about the Black American people. And most of the Black American people want to come back to Africa. If not, like I am switching straight to Africa, they just want to visit Africa. And most of them are also having negative experience. And because they are having negative experience, we are looking for a way to be able to make them Africans understand them. But I think that some of the fear that most African people have, apart from the fact that Africans just hate people sometimes or even hate their neighbor, part of the things that the colonial master was able to use to mesmerize our brain and bring in colonialism and the rest of it, I think we still have it somewhere in our mind. But I feel that most of the Black people also, sorry, the Africans are afraid that the narration the social media are painting about the Black women of the US and the rest of it, or yes, the Black women, is kind of so negative that they don't want to welcome them to the life of their son, apart from the wealth and the money and the rest of it. But Africans are going there and making money because of the Black people, and they are not, there's no disparity between an African and the Black American people when we go there, but it is different when they come here. Some of them are not being welcome, but I'm like, how do we start a conversation like this? That's what the point is all about. So welcome, just a sleep fox. So now I move to the second one. It's like, what role do you think African communities can play in supporting Black American women? That's the second point. I think that regardless of everything I have to say right now, it cannot honestly just make the change. But I am concerned because I have met good Black American people in my life. And because I've met good Black American people in my life, here's what I even have to say. If Africa has to be a better place, I think there's a necessity that we have to unite with the Black American people. Why? They already know how the white people, or I'm not trying to make this racist or something, they already understand the penetrations of the people who came to carry them. So because they understand how the US and the UK and all these people operate, they can give us more information. And besides, some of them even have, or most of them, or some of them have the resources to invest in Africa. But if you are not welcome to Africa, how would you invest? So I think that Africans need to be able to welcome them first. But we have to start the discussion. Just a sleepy fox says that, I have never seen your channel before. I am a queen African American woman, so I can't agree more that we need to have solidarity given everything going on in the world lately. 1000%. I agree with you, ma'am. Pure water 1212 says, I absolutely appreciate what you're saying. Communication is the key. Thank you very much. And I think part of the things that we need to do is that I am just a growing up YouTuber. And because I am just growing up, you can tell most of the African podcasters, like, okay, why can't we start conversations like this? Those who already have the audiences, why can't we start conversations like this? But most of them would not want to get it from you, since they are like, when did you start YouTube and the rest of it? I primarily start YouTube just because I want to have conversations that can make a change. That's the reason. And because I am new in the space, I know that Africans would want to hold back a little bit. Like, I want to talk about the girls who are stripping and the rest of it, because those are the things that brings out views. So as much as I say that the Black American people should be willing to start a conversations like this, and we can spread this also, let it also be on the social media space. The beautiful thing about YouTube and internet and the rest of it is that when you have conversations like this, and eventually someone can even make a decision to promote one of the video, this can spread to the eyes of people, and people can start listening to things like this. And if they do, it begins to create an awareness. Trust me, if an African person already knows that we are seen as haters to the Black American people, and the social media, they are having discussions on issues like this, Africans want to change the narration. And the reason is because Africans don't want to appear to be the bad people most times. Trust me, they don't want to be the bad people. I think psychologically, we can start making that change, that shift, that awareness, that when you see a Black American person, just because the person does not speak like Nigeria or other African country and open their mouth the way we used to open our mouth, ha, 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 in everything we discuss, and the person is like, oh, come on here, I live in America, Houston, Texas, and the rest of it, you should understand that you share the same ancestral past with that person, and regardless, that person is your brother. But I think it begins with things like what I'm doing. Can we have more African people to join in conversations like this? Do we make it once in a week? Can we also have Black American people who can join in these conversations? Because I can't instill anything right now to say that, oh, Black American people, we have to move this way and move this way. But I can always come with, let's have discussions like this, and people to get aware about this stuff like this. I think there's a level we can get to, and in that level, if you're a Black American person or Black whatever from everywhere that you want to make decisions to come back to your African country, they can be, I might not be part of it, but they can be a particular community and something like that that can be arranged here to know your movement and to protect you and to do a lot of things and to support you, give you the things that you most likely need to be able to flourish in Africa. But we have to start with the conversation. Ladi Ali Balogun says, I'm with you, bro. Thank you very much, Ladi Ali Balogun. You're welcome. Thank you very much. Because I said it, and I'm still repeating, we cannot put our hope on the government and the politicians that we have as Africans. Can you see mostly in all African countries, there's trouble everywhere about leadership. But I believe strongly, if we can relate back with most of the Black American people, some of the things that they have or wealth that they have, rather than them to be using that particular wealth in the US or in the UK, and the government continuously tax them, in Africa here, why not them invest in Africa here, and then they have something that is more tangible that they belong to, and they are investing in their communities and making that place okay. I think that most Africans, sometimes we see things from a lower place. Maybe we don't see too far. But if we can begin to call our consciousness to the possibilities of relating with our brothers and sisters who are already there, before you know, Africans will begin to produce things because they already are more informed than us. We understand tradition and culture and spirituality, but they know more of inventions, and they would be able to bring those information back to us. And we can use that information to better our economy without depending mostly on the leaders. Pure Water 1212 says, this gentleman has good intentions and he is a way shower. This channel will grow. This is a great thing he is doing. Thank you very much, sir. Ladi Ali Balogun says, I be Naija man. I be my Naija man. Oh, I go open my mouth like basket. Trust me, I agree with you. I know they cause us at the talk saying so we be. Trust me. But I'm saying that sometimes a lot of our people kind of see these other people like alien rather than see us as brothers and sisters, because we be the same. So that's exactly what I'm referring to. And I'm also a Nigerian. Just a sleepy fox says, absolutely, the sooner we can begin supporting each other, the sooner we can fight against hatred and oppression. That was exactly the point I was making. I say that if, for example, when most Africans go to US or the rest of it, let's say that a Black American person, an original Black American person works there, they want to know the price or the money or the salary that is being paid to everyone. And let's use for an example, an analogy that they are paying you $50. A Black American person already understands that this particular work I am doing is $50. But when you come as an African to US, for example, or the UK, most times they are going to pay you, they want to pay you less. They might want to pay you about $25, and they are paying people for that original job $50. Now the question is this: you most likely should be able to collect $40. $40 simply means that you are not an original Black American person who probably knows everything, but they can inform you on what you are worth. But when you are looking at them as your enemy, if you are entering inside gutter and you are appreciating the $25 they are giving to you, you are even messing their own economy up, because now what you're doing is you are pushing them out of the job force or the workforce, and you are taking over because you are collecting a penny. But the question is this: you are going to another African, Black American person and you are destroying them, and then you are taking their work from them. But if maybe they are collecting $50 and they are proposing $25 to you, and this particular Black American person says that no, you are supposed to collect nothing less than $40. sometimes they begin to think, okay, why not we mix both the Africans that are coming and the Black American people to just have a little bit higher pay than them? Then that means they have to work with everyone at a go. But when you are collecting $25 and you are rejoicing, and the pay is supposed to be $50, you are destroying the economical life of these people. Black Americans have been on attack for a very long time. What you're doing is that you are now participating in the attack. And if you crumble this person and they can no more pay tax, where would your brothers and sisters be? We need to think beyond the box. That's exactly what I'm saying. What else? Ladi Ali Balogun says, honestly, you're right. We should do this often, like calling our consciousness into reality. I absolutely agree with you, sir. Just the Sleep Fox says, I feel like so many of my fellow Black Americans either don't think about Africa, myself included, or think of it as some other land. They have been taught to think of it as lesser or dangerous. That's true. I absolutely agree with you. But I'm saying that there are some Black American women who like to come to Africa. If we look at the relationship dynamic between the Black American people, we wouldn't say, based off what social media shows, and trust me, I'm only speaking based off what I have seen on social media. What social media portrays is that there is no good relationship between the Black American people. That means they are not having a long-lasting relationship. And most of the Black American men are going to different countries, Europe, everywhere to go find women because they say that they have issues with their Black queens. And the Black queens still see the African men as their natural brothers and sisters. So they want to get married to an African. Some of them, not all of them. I'm not talking about people like Candace Owen. I'm talking about other African women who want to relate with the African men. But some of them, when they meet an African man in the US or in the UK, that person might sound very good. But when it comes to the idea that they want to know the family, because everything that makes an African relationship boils down to family. And because everything that makes an African relationship boils down to family, when I bring you to my home, for example, not me, but when an African man brings you to his home, and every perception that the African mother and the grandfather and the cousins have about the Black American woman is that they used to whap, drink beer and shoot and do a lot of things based off what they've seen in social media, and they can't, or they rarely see a decent Black American woman come on social media and, you know, things like this are being pushed about them, the positive side of them. They focus on the negative things and automatically they begin to judge. And this really plays out. This is the truth that I am actually analyzing. So what I'm saying is, can we have those who are willing to have conversations like this, speak about their experience, those who have related with the Black Americans, those who are relate with the Africans? How do you see the Africans? What do you think about the Africans? Yet, they portray us as we are very dangerous. But I can tell you, Nigeria, for example, is a very peaceful environment. But trust me, everything on the news and the rest of it is about the negative things of, what do they call them? Boko Haram and the rest of it. Like it is everywhere in Nigeria. And that's a false narration. And this is simply because, in my own way of thinking, maybe they are trying not to make Africans and the Black Americans come together. Maybe what they are trying to do is to make sure that they can wipe out the Black Americans so that they just have relationship with the Africans and have the US to themselves, have the UK or whatever to themselves, while the original Black Americans are being wiped off. And trust me, if not because of the way I most likely speak, if I come to America or go to UK and I learn the way they speak and I begin to do the phonetic and the rest of it, I most likely will have the job. In fact, I want to collect less pay because the currency is a little bit more higher. And I know when I exchange it with our currency, that means that you guys can open the eyes of an African that you guys are most likely living a low life, and for you to know what you're supposed to do, this is your what, this is your value, this is what you're supposed to do, and then they cannot take advantage of the Africans. But at the end of the day, you most likely would also have relates back to your brothers, and you can do your investments. Perhaps there are people who want to invest, and we can have good relationship together, harmonious relationship, because we all came from the same ancestor. I'm not talking about God Almighty. I'm talking about our relations as Africans. Just a sleepy fox says that unfortunately, misogyny is a massive problem in Black American communities. So a lot of us Black women are very cautious around our brothers, American or not. What is the alternative? Just a sleepy fox. What would you think that is the alternative? Do you think the best solution is to keep running from your brothers, either Americans or Africans? Or do you think that you have a solution, probably that is working for you, that other Black American women can also be using, and to live their life harmoniously and have families and do flourish well in life? Or do you think that the best method would have been to look into the situation and say, what can we do about this and fix it? Maybe not just basically for us, but for the generation yet unborn. I would be expecting your response, ma'am. The third one would be, in what ways can we celebrate our shared African roots with Black Americans? I think at this junction, we are not yet there. Until we start conversations like this, a deeper conversation, I think we cannot share, or we cannot share African roots with Black Americans. Like, we can't have the same values. We have similarities in many things, but the way we see ourselves is totally different. And because the way we see ourselves is totally different, we are not seeing the positive things about ourselves. For us, they tell you on social media that Africans are Black. In fact, it is our own people that are telling you the bad things. And so when it comes to your place also, or in the Black American space, every social media podcasters and the rest of it, all they talk about is passport bros moving to another country to go find women because the Black queens are not doing this. And I heard that they are decent Black American women, but the decent Black American women seems to be invisible. That means most of them are chilling out and they don't want trouble in their life. And because they run away from it, it is difficult for the change to come up. Do you even imagine, for example, that I make a decision right now that I want to interview a Black American woman? Trust me, if I put it out to young girls that are Black American women who are doing wap, 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 and slut and the rest of it, most of them will gladly come on live to show exactly their, and show their eyelash that looks like broom, and they'll be winking it. Wak, 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 wak. But if I bring those people here, what kind of conversation can I have with those set of people? I can't have conversation with those set of people. What question can I ask them? That means I'm still promoting degeneracy, as all other social media, most, not all, most social media people are influencing the next generation. So it comes with us picking out the decent one and having good conversations about it. This is not about Nigeria is bad. This is not about Black America is bad. This is about sharing our heritage and talking about things that actually matters. Drega001 says, I have come to the understanding that Black people treat each other badly, regardless of gender. I have seen this countless women call their sons MF. Is that more? Okay? And no good. Misogyny and misandry are common, and we always find an excuse for our shortcomings at the cost of the other. Sounds like you're a reasonable person. Okay, man. Thank you very much, sir. I will still make a comment on that. Um, just Sleepy Fox says, Drega001, you're absolutely right. Before I will proceed on something, I want to make a statement here. There was a subject I treated earlier today around 5 p.m. or 4:30 p.m. and I talked about the idea of a TikTok lady. There was a lady that they show, she's a Nigerian girl, an African girl, a Nigerian girl. This lady was dancing on TikTok and a guy was watching her through another screen, and the guy screenshotted her while she was dancing. She was showing all her individualism. At, at the end of the day, on live, this lady pulled her pants. Now, that is not the bone of contention, because I understand that there are girls that they call OnlyFans. And when this girl was dancing, the guy asked her to move or something like that, and he was saying something to her, and she was kind of upset, and she said her mom was there, and we saw the mother of the girl was inside the same house with the girl, and the girl was acting the way she was acting. So the mother was supporting her to keep doing OnlyFans just because of what? Now, here is it. I think that maybe this is just a way I think. Maybe there's a possibility that Africans don't like telling themselves the truth, or we like to react. Why do I say that? When most women, trust me, and I'm talking about the African girls now, or Nigerian girls, when some of these girls, when they act in a way that does not support the young girls that are coming up, and they just hack word and they put it on social media, if you say anything negative about it, they say that what they are doing is freedom of expression. So freedom of expression is when you can act anyhow. But why is it that when people see it and they talk about these things you're doing are kind of wrong, then it's like you're judgmental? Is it that we don't want to tell ourselves the truth? Is it that we hate on each other? It is kind of complicated, because I also understand this statement of misogynist and the rest of it. Before it comes to the idea of us hearing these passport bros and the rest of it, first of all, the thing that we started hearing, and part of the people who push out this narration of hating women or black women, part of them came from Kevin Samuels, Fresh and Fit, Rollo Tomasi, and the rest of it. Rollo Tomasi, I most likely wouldn't call him a misogynist. I think he just picked the obvious fact of how women kind of think. But Fresh and Fit and the rest of it, most of them kind of find a way to beat black women down with their words. Not in love, but in a way to degrade them. And like play, according to our African statement, like play, it didn't take over 2 or 3 years. You see that your black American men started moving away. Even those who have not even have relationship with the black American woman, they are already moving away to other countries to go have relationship with them. Why? The perception that most of them have is a black American woman is dangerous. But it is because, in my opinion, when you do not stand to affect a change, change would happen to you. So most of the decent women, they would never bring them to their podcast. Have you ever seen any Fresh and Fit show where they bring responsible people? Have you seen Kevin Samuels, when he was alive, may his soul rest in peace, bring in certain people? Have you seen Rich Cooper listen and bring in educated and informed people? The only person who does it is Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan will call in any kind of person and have good conversations with them. So sometimes, do we just call certain conversation misogynistic because men say these things and they are pointing out the fact? Which I think that sometimes when you want to have certain conversation, when at least you understand that it is public, you're supposed to find a way you can talk about these things, not to degrade the individual, because the best way to kill a person is to destroy the reputation of that person. Once you destroy the reputation of a human being, you have destroyed that person totally. And when Black people begin to contribute to the destruction of the reputation of a Black woman, this is the reason why even the Africans begin to get intimidated by them. I hope I'm making sense. Ladi all says 100%. Drega 001 says, my mom would have killed my sister for that. Trust me, my mom never liked beating me, but I believe if I as a guy, if I carry anything and show to the world, even if I show it to my mom's place, she will give me a dirty slap. Don't you know that you have to keep your reputation as a man? There is a public life and there is a private life. We have to make the distinction. Some people will just slowly come out on live and say, I like threesome, I love foursome, I like tensome, I like when there's a trail on me, I like when 1 million guys clash on me. I know there can be stupid people on earth, but the decent ones are not saying anything. And maybe that is why most men officially get irritated. Now, maybe the Black men are being accepted in many cultures because the narration about the Black American woman or the Black woman is being negative. And so every other women are like, if you can't take care of your man, we will get married to your man. And that is what most Asian people, Japan people, these are the things you will see on social media. They say, Black American, you can't cook, you can't clean. Why some of them are decent and they would do that? But you ain't affecting the change on social media, and probably that's why. I feel like at least that's the list of our worries as a community. What's the biggest issue? Just a sleep fox. It says, you think that is the list of your worries. What I talked about was reputation. In 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, it says something. Guard your reputation with all you have. If the reputation of a Black community is bad, as Africans, do you know what it means as a Nigerian going to other countries? Once they see me, despite the fact that everything I do is legal, despite the fact that how decent I am as a person, maybe I am, I cannot go to many countries. Most countries will not accept me just because I am a Nigerian. In fact, if I move in certain ways, they would hold me just because I'm a Nigerian. That is because of the reputation that some of our brothers have built for themselves as scammers. So majority of us are paying the price for it. So if you say that reputation is not the big side of your worries, if God does not have a reputation, no one will worship him. So I think if that is the list of the worries, That should be part of the number one list in the worries, changing of the reputation. And that's the reason why I'm saying we are not having conversations that would inform people about the negative perspective that they have. That's the point. According to Drago 1001, it says, Kevin Samuel as an honest actor, he was rougher with the men, the women just wouldn't stop talking. Most likely it's certain women who call on the show and the rest of it. You know, for me, I think that if you truly care about certain individuals, let me say, for example, that I was Kevin Samuel, there's a difference between, there's something about empathy. Empathy is that, for example, if my child does something wrong, for example, if my child does something wrong, I can create a private way to have conversation or with my child. Rather, we may disagree on many things, but rather I would not bring the negative side of my children on social media. That's what empathy is. I may tell you to chat me and let's have a private talk, and then we discuss about things. And I will tell you this is what you did say. This is why you're having the issues you have and the rest of it. But most times, we men, we may understand that, oh, Kevin Samuel is saying this to guys and saying this to ladies. Guys, we understand that regardless of what Kevin Samuel said to us, we can absorb it and it doesn't really affect us, because men can easily make the change by saying, okay, should I go to the gym? Yes, I start going to the gym. And after a few months, we can come back and say, oh, I'm hardworking and the rest of it. But when it constantly also paints the reputation of the women to be negative, do you know what it means when you call a woman a prostitute? If a social media paints the picture of a woman as a prostitute, I do not care how many years in her life, the whole world will still keep seeing her as a prostitute. So when Kevin Samuels was bringing them on social media, he was doing it to make money. He was doing it like, oh, I am a blunt money maker. I talk. Then he says, buy a dog and die alone, buy a dog and die alone. He started mocking them. He was mocking them. There was no part of him that was showing empathy. If someone says something that doesn't make sense, even while I'm on live, most times people say things that doesn't make sense. I find a way to just stylishly say something that would correct your brain rather than give you an insult. I have people that used to come on live that we disagree on many subjects, yet I find that we still have to respect ourselves. Would you say that Kevin Samuel was having respect with the women while he was having conversation? Or do you think that he was doing something else? Well, some people say, I think I got a call that I need to start reading down. Thank you for somebody who is informing me. Kevin Samuel had, okay, as much as I dislike Joe Rogan, he's a drawn good interviewer. Okay, Dragon is a great interviewer. Okay, I agree. Okay, could you recap what point you're making is right now? I think we have moved away from the original point, original topic. Okay, no, that we haven't moved away from it. I was just going towards what Dragon One was saying. All I know is that we blacks needs to unite and face our greatest fear. Ladi Ali Balogun, just asleep, he says, you responded to that's the list of our worries quite late. That wasn't in response to the current conversation. America has lost a family value, but there are some decent families holding families high. Just a sleepy folks delay. Okay, okay. I let me move down a bit. Hopefully he starts talking that into account. Gotta hit the gym. I'll catch you guys later. Okay, all right. Just a sleepy says, Ladi, I feel like most Americans are too concerned with being able to have stable income to worry about raising a family. Rightfully so, in my opinion. Just a sleepy. Okay, have a good day. Just a sleepy. Fortunately, in my opinion, society is starting to move away from the stigmatization of sex work. According to what Just a Sleepy said, according to what Just a Sleepy said, she was asking if I have moved away from the conversation. I haven't moved away from the conversation. I am talking about the fact that if we have to have conversation, we have to have conversation that are respectful conversations. And when I imply on the idea of Joe Rogan and I implied on the idea of Kevin Samuels and Fresh and Fit and the rest of it, I was saying that even the black people who were supposed to raise the black American women are most likely bringing them down. These are the pictures that are being painted to we the Africans. And so when we see things like this, trust me, most of our mothers in today's world are also watching you guys on social media. And because they are watching most of the things on social media, they would not have the mentality that they are decent, good women in America who wants to get married to their son. This does not most likely have to do with, oh, it has to be me. But I'm looking at it from the aspect that we have brothers and sisters who are willing to get married to Africans and Africans who might be willing to get married to Black American women. For me, as an example, I'm already married. I have 2 children. For you also, you might be married and you already have family. We are contributing ideas and we are thinking together to ask ourselves, is there a solution pattern to this kind of narration that has been painted about us? And how do we foster to make sure that we start changing this narration? It wouldn't hurt us if the Black American people can come to Africa and they understand that it is not dangerous and we welcome them fully. Or we can also go there and we understand that we are not destroying the economy and everything that the Black people also stand for over there. That's the bone of contention. But I think that the dialogue has to start respectfully. And that was why I was addressing that particular subject earlier about Kevin Samuel. Just Sleepy Fox say, I see. I see. I was just struggling to keep track of the conversation. For context, where do you live? Nigeria. Nigeria. Africa. I wouldn't have liked to call myself Nigerian. I like calling myself African because Nigeria is just the name that is being given to us by the colonial masters and the rest of it. So I don't appreciate that name. But what can I say? I still call myself Nigerian. So that was the bone of contention. Now, I've been asking a question also. And the question is like, is there anything we are thinking that we can do as people? Should we continue conversations like this? I think that I can't just be the one sharing the whole idea. I think that we need people who would be able to maybe make a decision to join us live to have this conversation. Perhaps most of the content creators in Nigeria are just looking for the best way to make money. When I talk about this conversation, trust me, I might talk about this subject for 2 hours and you guys might watch this video for over 300 hours. And YouTube will most likely have to pay me a certain amount of money, but you will be so surprised that they might pay me maybe 200 naira for 1,000 views. But if I was talking about, and you know, there's an algorithm that picks every statement you have. They call it show transcript and the rest of it. If I was talking about how women can be having sex here and there, trust me, I'm going to make millions. I would have made millions because they promote stuff like that. So you ask a question, and let me go back if there's something I'm not actually getting. You ask this question, just a sleepy fox. You said, I asked because most Americans aren't worried about marriage and stuff. with the economy and housing crisis, most of us are just worried about paying the bills. Well, I know about people who care about getting married, but is but let me ask a question now related to what you just said. Don't you think that's a psychological warfare to make you only think about bills and not think about family? The reason is this. According to what they were saying during that time, that the government kind of find a way to interrupt between the families of the black people, and they kind of take the black people out, the men out of the home. And some people says most of the black men don't want to be in the family. But perhaps if the government find a way to penetrate into the family, and this is the reason why you realize that most of the black people, if we separate the man from the woman, that means the man is going to have his own house and the woman is going to have her own house. If both of you have different house, if you're renting it or you're buying it, you are paying tax. So rather than the tax should be coming from one source, now two people are paying different tax. And if everybody is paying tax, rather than the family to drive one car, everybody is driving different cars. And then you pay tax for each car. You call it insurance, you call it this and that. Aren't you people seeing it that this is a psychological warfare that has already been set in place? And the idea is to destroy the family so that the only thing that matters to you is how to survive. And if the mentality you have is how to survive, you can never think about how to create. And because you can't think how to create, the society degenerates slowly. I just addressed that particular subject you talk about. Think about it. Think about it. It looks as if it is a deliberate act to the black Americans. The only reason why Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are still bowing to the black Americans is because of the population they have. Slowly, they reduce the population. According to some research we hear, we don't know if they are true, because these days when you read things on Google, you don't know what is true and not. They would tell you that most of all these black people and the rest of them, most of them are the ones that are in jail. Why? Ladi Balogun says, your discussion is about morals to sustain our culture as blacks, but people want to know what synergy can we drive at to benefit ourselves discussion. Without benefit, no they hold water. Imang Shoe Girl says, love your work. Thank you very much. Just a Sleepy Fox says, I think what we need to do as a people is to stop fighting over our differences. Thank you very much for that. And unite in what makes us similar. Our heritage as Africans, because that's what makes people target us. True. It's not a psychological warfare, it's a poverty. We have to pay the bills or we starve. That's a psychological warfare. Let me tell you a story. In what makes Nigeria a country, there are three tribes: the Yoruba and the Hausas and the Igbo. Now, in this three tribes, when the Portuguese came in the not 1970, in the 1700s, when they came, the Africans chased them and they was unable to do anything. The Portuguese tends to be the Europeans. But when they came the second time in the 1900 or in the 1800s, sorry, they came through the Yoruba land. And then they were able to manipulate the Yorubas and the rest of it. It was easy to actually manipulate the Hausas for certain reasons. But when it comes to the aspect of the Igbos, it was difficult. They had to use the Yorubas and the Hausas to defeat the Igbos, and the Igbos have to come together. After a period of time, they made Nigeria. Now, there was a time the Igbos make a decision they want to stay alone. and they don't want to be part of the Nigerians. Then there was a war between the Yorubas, the Hausas, and the Igbos. Now, when these people joined together, the Igbos were very strong. What the Yorubas and the Hausas did was to destroy the crop of these people. So regardless of the weapon you have, if you do not have energy to fight, if you are struggling to feed, you would not see other troubles in your life. Do you think that the governments of the Western country does not know what to do to make sure that the blacks are living a better life? They just want you so you cannot think beyond that particular place. There's a reason why they make people poor, so that you cannot think out of the box. Casey says, not being disrespectful, but baby mamas are everywhere and have grown men with cars and designer clothes everywhere. That's Casey. Casey, thanks for joining. Just Sleepy Fox says, Casey, are they everywhere or are they just the people posting on Twitters while the rest of us are working ourselves to death? That's why I'm saying you see, the question I was asking earlier is for us to think about what's the solution? How can we start the discussion? Do we create panels where we can have discussions like this? Are there women who are willing to come on live for us to start a conversation like this? Maybe we share it to the world. Maybe we can have conversations like, maybe some of you can tell stories like this on your social media space and share it to the world. What are your experiences with the Africans? Good or bad? How are they treating you? Good or bad? For those people who have the experience. And if you think you have an advice and all of that, how do we foster this information? Because when we see ourselves differently, and I told you, I gave you an analogy earlier when I said that most Africans will penetrate and they will pay them lesser. So most of the original Black Americans would not be able to have many jobs because Africans are coming and taking over your jobs. And most of them are not aware that what they are doing is actually affecting the Black Americans. So that's what this conversation is all about. Africans have forgotten who they are. True, according to Casey. Not because Africans have forgotten. I think there's no awareness with the Africans, but maybe you are kind of right with what you're saying also. Just Sleepy Fox says, continuing on my previous message, just because they are the loudest doesn't mean they represent the rest of us. 1000%. CC Motion 1998, thank you for joining. I appreciate. He says, it's all by design. You are completely correct. The power at B wants us poor to control us 100%. Casey says, I hardly get on Twitter or TikTok. I'm in Middle East. I meet them every day. You know, while we are having this discussion, I remembered something, that I was having the same discussion with certain individuals. And I was telling them that there was a view, there's a view that most people are experiencing. And because of those views that people are experiencing, they are not even making more research to see if there are other people. Let me say this, for example, as an African man, if you tell me now that how can I know a decent Black American woman, I have no clue. But with the people I have spoken to previously about on Sunday, most women told me, okay, some women said they've gotten married to African person. Some of them told me that they are decent Black American women. But let us even ask a question. Maybe that might even make sense. If an African person, if an India, if an Asian, if there is any country, any other person, any country, if they want to find a decent Black American woman, what are the signs that you would use in knowing a decent Black American woman who values family and the rest of it? What are the signs? For me, I can say it's for Nigeria, but today is not about Nigeria. Today is we are focusing on maybe we can learn. So I can tell my brothers who want to go to US or the UK and say, oh, are you looking for a Black American woman you want to get married to? If you want a decent one, these are the attributes you can use to find them. Because most of the people who have spoken today, some of them are like, oh, we know Black American women to be this and this and this, and I don't want to believe it. In fact, I don't believe it. I have spoken to the decent ones. I know few decent ones, but I want to ask a question also. What are the attributes that we think that you can use in knowing a Black American responsible, decent woman? Maybe I can talk, if I can see those attributes, I can even make more video clips on it. Share it to the world that if you want to get married to a Black American woman, these are the attributes, these are the ways you would know that she values family, she's going to last long with you, she's someone who come from a good home and the rest of it. What are the signs? I would appreciate that. Please, just a sleepy fox, and I don't want everything to just be on just a sleepy fox, because it would look as if, oh, everyone is saying things. Let other people who are joining us live, let them please contribute to this conversation. It will be appreciated, because we will soon be rounding up. Okay, Ladi Ali Balogun says, let's go get it. Get what? How do we get it? Just a sleepy fox. Please do not mind the fact that you might be the Black American woman who has been joining me live to at least put in your insight. I just want you to give us a little bit of insight on this. Because if I ask ChatGPT doesn't know anything about it. He said, check the top. Check the top. Do I scroll down? Let's go get it. Okay. Get what? The discussion is about morals and sustain our culture as Blacks, but people want to know, okay, is that what is referring to? What synergy can we drive at to benefit ourselves? Discussion without benefit, no, they hold water. I think according to what Ladi is saying, if what I read correctly is what he is implying to, I have said it. I say Nigeria or Africa. Okay, let me put it in this perspective. I reside in an estate in Ogun State. In the estate I reside in, the land is over 500 acres of land. Now, the percentage of our brothers who are in diaspora that invested in this particular place are more than, what do we call it? They are more than 75%. Nigerians who have been able to invest here are not more than 25%. Now, what I mean by that statement is that if the Black Americans know how to come back home and they decide to invest, it will raise more benefits that in the Black community, the resources we make, even from diaspora and the rest of it, can work in our country. And this is actually happening in every place. So if we are pushing them out, we cannot flourish as people. So this is not about the individual, this is about collective. That's what we are trying to talk about. Casey says, I think reverse should be what we need. Black that know how to build system, business and technology should try and return to Africa. We in Africa should make sure our acts are right. I totally am going to even make comments on that. Just a sleepy fox says, I wouldn't say there's a science. You just have to try and connect with others around you. You're not going to get anywhere if your only intention when interacting with a woman is to make a family. Ah, that's deep. I would ask some African men here. African men, if you are here, listen. I want to ask a question. I would appreciate African men or anybody, or if you are whatever. As a man, if you make a decision you want to talk to a woman, a grown-up woman, who you think that you want to have sex with and you want to keep having sex with, if the primary goal is not to have family, then the second goal is so you can just have sex with them, right? But if the reputation that you know about them is just about, oh, maybe this person is not going to take me serious, how do you know? If you want to know an African person, a responsible African woman, there's a way to know about it. First of all, check about their social media profile. When you know about their social media profile, know if this woman also like to live with her friends, or she's living with her family. If a woman is most likely living with her family, she understands the values of family. Then you look at the way she dress. Is she dressing responsibly or she's dressing like a tot? Then you look at her cultural and her religious belief and her tradition. These are the things, signs that you can look and you will say that, oh, this lady I am dating, or this lady I'm about to talk to, or this lady I've been having conversation with, she is a good wife material. By the way she talk, is she respectful to only you and disrespectful to other men, or is she respectful generally to everyone? How is she dressing? Is she dressing this way just to impress me, or she's dressing responsibly because that is how her family has taught her to dress? Is she living with her parents, or regardless of the fact that she's working in an organization, does she make sure she takes time to go and meet her family? Then, how often does she say things about her parents, and what is the standard and value she has on her parents? These are the things. You can look at her religious way of seeing life, you can look at her cultural way of seeing life, a traditional way of seeing life, and then you ask yourself, is she the woman who cooks and clean and the rest of it, who understand values? Because African, our ways of viewing family is a little bit different. Not because she's going to stay in the kitchen every single time, but at least if you come from a family, you must have the idea to know how to cook, because you cannot come from a responsible family as a whole and you guys will be eating Domino pizza every day. My wife has about she has two business she's doing, if not more. She has two business she's doing, and in those two business, she don't even have time, but she cooks. So these are signs. So when I ask for a sign for a Black American woman, and you say we just have to make conversation, that means most conversations will be like, oh, let me just hit first. Do I hit first and then I know who I want to get married to? That's something we have to think about. So we can Kezi said that what I've been saying, we need to get together and rule the world together. That is exactly what I believe in. Just a sleepy fox says, granted, I'm not the best person to ask about family values and shit. I'm not a person who cares about those things. Hell, I'm not even straight. Oh, okay, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Mm, okay, okay. So I'm sorry about that. Ladi Ali Balogun says there shouldn't be a problem for any American going home to Africa to invest, but to want to teach them what to do, it won't work. We can only teach them more on African culture and tradition. Just a sleepy Fox says 19.2% of people leave their parents nowadays. Ah, most people have left. Babu Wahala. Sorry about that. My network acted some drama. It's painful. It did. Mm. Okay. According to what Ladi Ali Balogun said, he said there shouldn't be a problem and for any American going home to Africa to invest, but to want to teach them what to do, it won't work. You know, this particular thing you said, Mr. Ladi Ali Balogun, I told, I talked about it too. That most Africans we are kind of stubborn, and we are stubborn because we are conservative in our ideas. And our conservative idea is that we so much believe in our culture and traditions. And so we don't want anyone to even change our values, regardless of the fact that we even have religion. We still more or less value our culture and tradition. Sorry about that, just Sleepy Fox. I haven't heard anything in the last few minutes. Wow. I hope there's nothing they are doing to mess the whole stuff up. What were we talking about again? It's about the old stuff of the Black Americans and the rest of it. That's what we are actually looking at. But according to what Ladi Ali Balogun was talking about, I think it is difficult for people to teach an African person about a different culture because we think that we have the original African culture and tradition. But I also think that, you know, there is this sentiment that maybe I could be wrong, that some Black Americans might have, like, we have to be able to discuss and share values and the rest of it. But I think in Africa, because we understand the culture and traditions, we are not willing to jeopardize or even, you know, relate with anyone about anything. But maybe the best option would have been, why not educate them on why we see things the way we see them? Why do we have the cultures we have? Because most Black American women may not understand why our cultures are the way they are. And because they don't understand it, they might look at it like we are giving them rules and regulations, and we hate them because they don't understand our culture and traditions, and they might do something that most likely does not align with it, and we begin to act according to our traditions and culture. It looks as if we are kicking them out. Maybe part of the things we can do is to inform them everything behind our culture and tradition, so when they have this understanding, they would know why we operate the way we operate based off culture and tradition. Now, that does not imply on the aspect of economical and social values and the rest of it, but traditional and cultural. I think we can do that. Do you agree with that, sir? Just simply Fox, sorry about that. Maybe you have to update your YouTube. Maybe you have to update your YouTube because I don't understand. And you might be thinking your YouTube is having issue. It most likely might be mine because my own went off. The network went off about a few minutes ago. Ladi, are you there? Ladi Ali Balogun, are you there? Do you agree with my idea, or the wolf? Or what do you think? I think most people are. Some people have gone live, off, and some of them are there. Please, if you want to like, you can like. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Just a sleepy fox says tradition can be good if we understand where it comes from and it doesn't hurt others. The problem comes when we are so fixated on it that we refuse to accept change. You're right in some sense. I would agree with you 70%. Now, I think that one of the, you see, when people do certain things, you should understand that there is no tradition and culture that has come from a long time that does not have reasons behind it. And as Africans, trust me, we share the same ancestral past. And because we do, we almost have similar cultures and tradition, if not because of the colonial masters. And because of that, you guys have been able to create a different culture and tradition. But back to Africa, and that we still have this our own culture and tradition. there should be a way that we educate and inform Black American people who have the intentions of coming to Africa or to relate with Africans. I think that will be important. But like you rightfully said, I think it starts with information. Maybe I'll be thinking about talking about things like this. Um, but it's surprising. Maybe we'll be looking at it by Sunday. I will still be revisiting this particular subject on Sunday to see if around maybe 9 p.m. on Sunday, to see those Black American people who will be willing to have these conversations. Just a sleepy fox also say, unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to stick around much longer. I have a dungeon and dragon section scheduled soon. LOL. No problem. You can enjoy your time. Thank you very much for your contributions. At least I appreciate your insights and everything you've contributed to this particular episode. I appreciate, and I would always wish to see you or to have more discussions with you when we are live. Thank you very much, just a sleepy fox. Kezi says that what if the change makes you lose your identity or it's against our African religions? Yeah, that is exactly where the debate is. That maybe it's because they don't understand why we do some things. That's the reason why um, they are kind of scared of us, or they think that we hate them. Because when you understand, there is something I used to say that if like Africans, for example, most places in Africa, I think that when men and women are doing things, or the woman is even richer than the man, and they want to have certain things in the relationship, or they want to get married, it is expected from the culture and the traditions that even if the woman is more wealthy than the man, if the woman actually wants to contribute anything, she has to penetrate it through the man. In fact, if the woman wants to give the family of the man something, she most likely will say, my husband wants me to give you this thing. That means that giving the honor to the man simply means that you are acknowledging to a fact that he is a leader in the relationship. And there is no relationship that can be sustained without leadership. One person has to take in the front, and one person has to be by the side in every relationship. Even for those of us who have friends and we say, oh, I like my friends and the other one, we understand that even in our friendship, there's somebody who is a leader in that friendship. Because the moment we just look at it like we are all the same and there's no hierarchy, then it is easy for that relationship to be infiltrated, and just a bad ideology can disrupt everything. So there's those part of it are there, and I think some of them might most likely not understand. All right, just a sleepy fox. All right, bye for now. Hopefully I can stop by another time. I love debating people and having conversations. Most likely we will be having more deeper conversations next time. Okay, one thing before I go, I completely disagree about the leadership slash hierarchy intake. Take, sorry. I understand what you're saying. I understand why you don't accept it, because in the culture of the Black Americans, it's all about equality. Yeah, I understand it's all about equality. Equality in the workforce, equality in relationship, equality in everything. Sometimes I kind of ask myself, with the equality thing, are the relationship flourishing, or are they going bad? Now, for example, if if I as an African man wants to take my wife, or wants to take my family, or my girlfriend, if she's not my girlfriend, if I want to take her to anywhere, any party, any club, anything I want to do, I am expected to pay for her. I heard, it could be a lie, but I heard that some people, which I've heard this also on social media and all the rest of it, it might not be true, so you can correct me. I heard that sometimes when people are going on a date, the man will pay 50% and the woman will pay 50%, or the man will pay 100% for the first and second date. Then it is expected that if the lady initiates a date, the lady should take charge of the bill in the third one and the fourth one. And I heard that is how relationship are being done there. Correct me if I'm wrong. Effectively, relationship is built on communication and respect. No, I understand communication and respect. Trust me, Africans do not disrespect their family. In fact, an average African man would rather die than for you to disrespect his wife. If I can be logical with people, anyone in the world, I can be logical. But if I am maybe having issues with someone and you say anything that has to do with my wife, oh God, and it's disrespectful, you wouldn't see the logical man talking. You wouldn't even see the natural man. You're going to see a devil. A devil will spring up immediately, and that devil does not spring up without taking an effect. Prison does not matter at that point. The law will crucify me does not have anything to do at that point. That is how an average African man thinks. So we respect and value our women. The thing is that the equality thing must each show in the aspect of paying price and paying money and giving money and going to parties and sharing on everything. Even the house bill thing has to be. Now, there are women who takes good care of their home, and at the end of the day, they don't go around telling everybody that, oh, I am the one who is taking good care of my family. Because if a man is taking good care of his family, why should he be going everywhere to say, I take good care of my family? If a woman supports her family, why should she say, why should we be expecting 50-50? There is no such relationship on earth that is 50-50. Just Sleepy Fox says, I think they should both pay 50% of you're just going out. If you're taking someone out to eat as a treat or gift, then yeah, pay 100%. Oh, nah. Oh, nah. You see, there's a psychological way of that pattern. And this is how we see it. Now, you might be right, but if we look at the results, sometimes we can have discussion, but we should be able to look at the results we have been able to achieve. You can tell me why our economy is bad. We can say it's because of leadership. I will agree with you that we have bad leaders as Africans. I will agree with you. You can say that some of the youths do not know how to invest. I will agree with you. You can say some of the youths are lazy to think out of the box to know how to invest. I agree with you. So I can agree with why our economy is where it is, but our relationship way is a little bit different. Now, there's a psychological thing about it. If I have discussion with you and I take you to an eatery or restaurant and I have to pay 50% of everything that you do, and you have to pay 50% or I have to pay 50% every single time, then psychologically or spiritually, what we are trying to do is that I maintain my space and you maintain your space. That means we haven't become one. Maybe that might be an issue with relationship. I'm not changing it, but I'm just stating out the obvious fact. If I get married to a person and I'm telling the person to pay 50% and I pay 50% of everything, that means both of us pay 50%. We are showing individuality in a relationship. Individuality does not make us strong. It always separates us. I'm from northern Nigeria. Our wife are queens. Yeah. Like for example, if you're just meeting, that's from just a Sleepy Fox. It says, like for example, if you're just meeting someone and going for a first date, you pay for what you ordered. If you're taking your boyfriend out to eat, because it's been feeling down lately, then pay 100%. I understand what you're saying. You are saying that you can decide to help, but on the other way around, if you're not helping, naturally, if you go out with someone, you should pay you should pay 50-50. Now, in Africa, it is rare for you to see 50-50 thing. In fact, a male guy who has about 5-10 friends might decide to go out with his 5-10 friends. If they cannot contribute, he most likely will tell you he's going to pay the whole bill. If a man is taking his wife to anywhere or a girlfriend anywhere, he is not expecting to pay 50%, and why she pay 50%. We have to ask ourselves, are there actions that we portray that are actually affecting us to be able to progress as people? If you love a person, why should it be that 50% of your money and 50% of their money is more important? That doesn't show union. I can pay sometimes, you can pay sometimes. There's a difference. I don't have and I know you have, or you don't have and you know I have. Yes, anybody can support anybody, but if I am coming to the table and I'm bringing 50% and you are bringing 50%, that is a business, not relationship. That's a business relationship, not a real emotional relationship. Because in emotion and in love, love does not ask who is giving and who is taking. Love gives. A complete, genuine relationship love absolutely gives. Is not expecting anything in return. So when you are going into a relationship, an emotional atmosphere for romantic relationship, and you are going with the mindset of 50%, that is a business relationship. And oh, blood of God. Kwesi says that's why they hate us Nigerians, but we don't let even friends pay bills if we are the ones that invite them. I bet you if there are 10,000 Nigerians here, they will agree with what I'm saying. And I'm not saying the way we view the world is the most correct way, but I think it is a way that we have been able to create loyalty. Not that these people are all 1,000,000% loyal to us, but we do it out of if you have it, the abundance, take charge of it. Don't expect anything from the other person. If the other person gives to contribute, that's fine. I think it's quite the opposite. If you are both paying equal amount, you are uniting yourself. I'm looking for other logical way to be able to address this. Maybe you'll be able to understand. But we can look at it from the result standpoint. The result standpoint is that how many people actually have a relationship that has lasted for 10 years? I have friendship that has lasted 15 years. I have relationship that have lasted 20 years, 10 years, 7 years, 8 years. I'm asking, an average person in most of these places that I'm talking about, most of the relationship don't work because it's 50-50. 50-50 simply means that hold your ground and do not bring your life into my life. That's what 50-50 looks like. Please, if there are other people who disagree with my viewpoints, I totally would accept. Maybe I'm learning. But when you tell somebody that when I bring 50, you pay 50, it is an individualistic way of thinking. It is the reason why it is very easy for the government to say that the man should go out of the house and the woman should be able to stay in the house, and the woman pay for her house, he pay for his house, the woman pay for her car, he pays for his car. How does that unite them? It is an encouragement, a spiritual encouragement that you don't belong to this person, go find something else. That is why most people are looking for a search to belong somewhere. When you belong somewhere, just Sleepy Fox, if you were my sister, if you were my family, I wouldn't expect, if I go out with you or if I want to do anything for you, I should be expecting things in return. I do it because that is what I am supposed to do. That is what family is all about. Do you imagine that you have a parent and your parents are telling you that everything we are doing is 50-50? Make sure that all the food you have been eating as a baby till when you become 18 years old, your parents should be writing it, alimony, palimony, walimoli, and all those things. And they start writing all the food stuff, and they tell you that now that you are 18 years old, you have to pay us back at least 50%. I know it doesn't make sense in the way I analyze it, but I'm just using that as an example. It might be illogical, but it's logical kind of to me. If everything we give to life is so that we can receive 50% and show the boundaries, we are creating boundaries. We are not creating union. Boundaries is 50-50. Union is we bring everything together. We synchronize. If you have 20 million and I have 1 million, we synchronize. If you have 40 million and I have 40 million, we synchronize. We don't look at my 40 million as my 40 million and your 40 million as your 40 million. We synchronize it and we say we have 80 million. How do we work this to make our life better? According to Kezi says gentlemen pay all the bills except when we don't have. Kezi, just Sleepy Fox says, at Kezi, personally, I think that concept is arbitrary. That's a big English. Oh. Arbitration. I know of arbitration. Whenever you want to go to court and you don't want to go to the real court, you go for arbitration first before you go to court. Kezi says, I'm married for 15 years now. Oh, Shansa, you are my senior brother. I'm still learning work. The hope of being in marriage is to stick with the person and to raise the children. It's not to come up with, for example, let's say that I want to live with my wife for the rest of, I want to live with my wife for the rest of my life. That's not, let's say. Now, and how come in my relationship, I'm not saying, my wife, oh, every time I come from work, I want to give you 50%. Every money you have, you should be bringing 50%. What of the days I don't have? What of the days she don't have? If we collaborate our things together, it is a union for us to establish ourselves together. Why the individuality? Just a Sleepy Fox says, you have to remember that a lot of those relationships that last so long only last so long because the woman doesn't have the right to separate or is afraid of violence or stigmatization. There is a reason for everyone's fear. There's a reason why some Americans don't want to come to Africa. There's a reason why the Africans don't want to go to America. There's a reason why you don't eat inorganic food. There's a reason why they say when you go to the forest, you might get eaten. Something might eat you up. There is always a reason. The question is that, does your fear protect you, or does your lack of fear destroy you? If the women are staying in the relationship because they are afraid of stigmatization and are afraid of violence, but they are enjoying the relationship, sometimes they may not enjoy. Because let me tell you this, you don't get married and every day you wake up and you still have the same affection you have for somebody. And that is the purpose of marriage of Africans, bringing the union of family together. Why? Because they understand that these two children that have grown up, that are getting married, there might be a chance that both of them are not matured and they don't have the experience of marriage. We will let them understand. That's the reason why the two families are coming together. We would nurture them to make sure that when the relationship is not going fine and things want to sour, our own way is to give them our history, to inform them and protect them, to find a reason to stick together. But if families are not there, the woman just think I can go anytime I want to go, and the guy is like, go whenever you want to go. I can check on my app right now and bring a girl from Tinder to my house. So if that stigmatization / violence that you say is why they stay in the relationship, they raise beautiful children, they raise great family, their children have more children, they expand in society. That is a plus to nature. Trust me, I never wish to go that route, but that is the reality. The parent argument is a straw man. According to what we know about history and research that has shown that men who are not in the life of their children, for the daughters, they easily get pregnant. For the men, for the young guys, they most likely go to prison because they don't have fathers to imitate them, to protect them from not doing the wrong things or not associating with the wrong people. So if you have a good father in your life, a good father would protect you from, you know, when young girls are not having fathers in their life, they gravitate towards strange men. They don't know the kind of man that is good for them because they don't have a father as an example to be able to choose the kind of man that should be their husband in the future. The sons, they do not have a father to rely upon, so they get influenced by anything that is going on in the society. So if there are gangs and thugs in that particular place, they most likely will be part of them. They say that about 70 to 80% of people who are in prison are people who did not grow up with their fathers. Male prisons. What do you say about that? Kelsey says, my mom is richer than my dad, but he pays school fees, buy food, car. She only supports him when he needs help. That's simple. That's simple. Most men find value when they can raise a family that they can provide and protect. This is the reason. See, the relationship of a man that bounds into a woman is the relationship that he wants to serve. Forget, he wants to serve in that relationship. If you do not allow him to serve and you are like, bring your 50%, I am strong enough to handle my shit, then it's like, why will I want to be with this person? Let me go elsewhere where I might be able to serve, because it is his purpose. In fact, he is built to do that. The structure of a man is built to provide and to protect. When you cannot allow him to provide and you are like, oh, just bring your 50, I'm not trying to do this and that, I can take good care of myself. Most women are richer than their husband. And like Kelsey said, they support when it's needed. Just Sleepy Fox says, yes, I agree. I think you should absolutely think of it as a combined pool of finances. Give me a moment to type this out. Okay. I will never make my wife pay for anything except I don't have. Me too. Me too. Except I no get. If I get, I will spoil them. He said, if your man loves you, he will protect you, except if you choose the wrong one or you marry for the wrong reason. 1,000,000%, sir. Just Sleepy Fox says, I think we fundamentally approach this conversation poorly. The idea of the paying 100% versus 50% is only applicable for the dating phase, when you're first deciding if this is a relationship you want. Okay. To commit to after that, once you are in a committed relationship, it's not relevant anymore. Why would you worry about percentage when your goal is to support each other regardless of gender? Oh, maybe I got it wrong. I got it wrong. But I agree with you in your place, in your standard. That is how the society is built there. In our standard here, we sometimes just, if we love the woman, we show the woman we love her. And part of the way we show her that we love her is to show her a serious, committed way of thinking, which is, if you want to get anything or we are telling you to come somewhere, we want to make you happy and we are going to take care of the bill, regardless of the fact that we know you have the money. So maybe that's just a different way of seeing life. We don't expect you to have the same way views of us. We are only thinking, but I think I understand where you're coming from, and you're absolutely correct in your own way. But in an African way, we start from the beginning to wherever God help us to. Even for dating is wrong. You see, I wasn't even reading it, but because of that is our mentality as Africans, because that is what has helped us to be able to sustain relationships and family in Africa. That's why we think that way. So if you understand how Africans think, it will be easier for you to know how to. I'm not talking to you specifically, just Sleepy Fox, but for any Black American, you would understand the mentality behind how they think. Sleepy Fox says, "Oh, this is frustrating. You are replying to my messages so late, or when I'm typing out another message. I can't make a proper argument like this. I am done writing, replying everything, except maybe the algorithm or the YouTube is kind of messing the whole things up. Everything you have written, I have responded to all of it. In fact, you are the last person who has written right now on the platform. Except if something is wrong and your message is coming in late. I'm following up exactly with everything that is coming in. With that being said, thank you everyone. This is over 2 hours 38 minutes. I don't try. I don't try. We are going to continue this conversation by Thursday. Oh, by Friday. Yes, by Friday, we are going to continue this conversation. 9 p.m. on Friday, we are going to be having this conversation. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about something else, but I will make sure occasionally we visit this. Friday, we will talk about it, and Sundays, we will talk about it one more time. And I want to see the interest of other people. Thank you so much, Just a Sleepy Fox, for contributing. I appreciate you for contributing, and at least we are able to share more ideas. Thank you so much. At Kezi, also, I appreciate you and every other person who has joined us today to put in their insights. We have 81 people right now on live. Nano love, nano share, nano comment. Waiting, I do you. Just a sleepy fox says, at Kezi, I think that's a you problem. Your masculinity shouldn't be damaged by something like that. But I will be fair in the sense that I fundamentally disagree with a lot of the concepts proposed by, okay, by gender roles and such. Or I understand. I understand. Kezi says that any man that wants you to start spending on your first date, run. It's as simple as ABC. There's wow. Well, unfortunately, text or speech is simply a bad format to have discussion. Text versus speech is simply a bad format to have discussion. I don't understand that. Maybe it means that even if you come online and you have conversation, it's still a speech, and it's not good to have a discussion on that. If you would like to join me live the next time, let me know so we can maybe try speech rather than text and I speak. I would also appreciate that insight. We can have discussions on that. Thank you everyone for joining me. We hope to see each other by Friday, and I will be on live tomorrow and we'll discuss other things. Please, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel, like and share. If you want to join membership, please do. I appreciate everyone who has contributed for today. It's already late. Have a great night. See you in the next video. Thank you very much. Bye bye for now. Peace.